Hello. I'm going to be only on for about a little bit less than 20 minutes. Do you want to come on? Jump on?
Hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, can only be on for 20 minutes, so
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
it might be all you. So have you gathered some questions? How was
Oh
your
my.
day today?
Today was good. I've been there we go, playing with the dream space.
Yeah.
I think I've been on the Patreon listening to the classes on, astral POVs
Yeah.
and then like the Cloud Realms one.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to discern if I think I had a because my ego was not there.
Okay.
So I think it was a different POV.
Okay, so it's probably another version of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
because in this place there I was like I didn't see myself like in a mirror or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
knew this is gonna sound very weird. I knew I was Asian. I that sounds
Yeah, no, but that's what happens is you
yeah.
get the intel.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
sometimes another indication of it not being you,
Yeah.
because you'll just think you're like, I'm Asian or I'm,
Yes.
whatever. I've been like Archangel Michael before.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm and I told people I'm like I'm Archangel Michael, and then I'm like, what the hell?
Exactly. Like it was
That's
so.
how it works because it's basically the intel, and you know what to do and everything.
That's exactly what it was. Like I was Asian. I had just gotten married, and I was like, I guess leaving the ceremony. This is where it got kind of weird, and that's why I was like, okay, is this on Earth or wherever? Because it started raining fish. Like they looked like fish, except they were black. Like they were like tiny, and it started
Okay.
raining them. And what I had to do after the wedding ceremony was pick up the fish one by one and determine if it was an ancestor or not. It was so bizarre. Like I would pick up a fish, hold it in my hand for a second, and I'd be like, nope, not an ancestor. And then I'd go to another one, put it in my hand, like, oh yeah, this one's an ancestor. It was very vivid. But like I woke up and I was like, what was that? So yeah, I've been having some interesting experiences the last couple of days.
So what we could do in a session, we can pick that like this one or another one, and I can help you like go into it as well.
Yeah,
We could even do it now, but I feel like it might be we might be able to not be able to go like deeply in.
yeah.
But yeah, the I could like it's up to you. How what would you like to do?
Well, I want to book a session with you probably next week, or
Okay.
sometime in June. What's today? Yeah, probably sometime in June. So probably next week.
Okay.
Um, there's a, and I think for the session, what I want to do is like talk about my energies and kind of like the mapping, the origins, embodiment of origins. Yeah, like all of that. The embodiment of origins thing is still like on my mind a lot,
Yeah.
and it just feels like the crux of all the things that
Yeah.
I've been
It really
exploring
is.
lately.
It
Yeah,
sounds like gigantic, and it is, but it actually matches everything.
yeah,
Because the more I did it, the more my life made sense.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it starts to make, all the stuff people talk about in spirituality, like everything, like inner child work, shadow, all that stuff. All of those things become profound. And
yeah,
also your arguments that you've had with people or the way that they've treated, instead of you going, this always happens to me, instead you're like, oh my God, this is the same story. And like, this is why, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't have to do that. And I could blah, blah, blah. And it just like crazy empowers you. Like
yeah,
you just,
yeah,
instead of everything being about something happening to you or the thing, even though we know it consciously that it's not happening to us,
yeah.
this helps it so that it's like complete proof to you that it's not. You're like,
Exactly.
oh,
Yeah. That's exactly what it is, because like I've had exactly what you said, like patterns in my life of certain things that have repeated, or like certain things that I'm super drawn to, and I'm like, why am I drawn to this subject that other people don't care about? And I'm understanding now that it has to do with my energies. So that's why I definitely want to dig into that, I think, in a
And,
session. I
you
think it'd
know,
be
the other thing that's super important is like when I say, what does this mean to you, or what does it mean? Also, you have like these beautiful cries, which is like things that you wouldn't think are special become like what it means to you, and it's meaningful. So everything's like becomes like all about meaning. And it's so effortless because a lot of people, I think, especially in pop culture, they make like purpose and all this thing sound like it's like this big mountain when it's supposed to be effortless. And so this process kind of just opens that up so
yeah.
that everything, like even the most funny, like things that you would think are just everyone has, or regular stuff, it's
Hmm.
just, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I guess then, like maybe the the larger question that I have, actually no, probably smaller question, because that we already discussed the larger thing. So this is a smaller question, I think. Um, so you talk about infinity a lot, and we talked before about being a channel of the infinite, and like what finite systems are versus like infinity. The thing that like popped in my mind today was like, so am I just going to be exploring forever? Like infinity is infinity, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
not that I ever, like, I get that all time is now. So like time is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
But at the same point, there's a part of me that's like, oh, like there is no endpoint to this journey. Like there's no like it's like what's that book that everybody loves in the spiritual community?
Yeah.
The Alchemist, right? Where it's like he goes on this journey, and it's like, oh, sorry, spoiler alert for anybody who's listening who's never read this book. But if you haven't read it by this point, I mean, it's been out for, I don't know, 100 years at this point. But like, he goes on this journey, and he's trying to find these jewels, and it's like, oh, they were actually right by the tree where he left all alone,
Yeah.
all along, right? Like there's no I'm seeking, but it's like there's nothing to seek because it's here. But
Mhm.
it's like paradoxical because I am
It is paradox.
seeking.
So that
Right,
for
exactly.
humans, the closest we can get is paradoxes. And that is the closest we can get to infinity, is when you meet a paradox, you know that you've reached something that's infinity.
Mm,
And that's what people feel uncomfortable with.
yeah.
And once you've, and this will happen for each thing. So once you think of a concept and it feels uncomfortable, it's because you've reached the paradox. And then once the paradox feels comfortable, which is
Yeah.
the process I say where you are comfortable with it, with you not knowing the full picture, or you have an idea of how you want to explore it and it means something to you. Like it means it's very special to look into it. And
Mm.
so that's kind of the two things, if that makes sense, that like
Mhm.
to look into when you reach that thing. Um, but yeah, they were saying something, your energies were saying something or about what you said earlier. Wait, let's go back. They were going more with this, but I was like, no,
Okay.
wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Um, when you were first talking, what were you saying?
All right. Hold on. Let me go back.
Rewind a
So,
bit.
hold on. Let's. God, I hate when I do this. So I was talking
Dude, don't
about.
worry. I can see all the branches that we're putting out, and I'm like, God, come on, wait.
Yeah, like I'm trying to double back now. So we were talking about being a channel of the infinite, and then like infinite
Oh,
systems
yeah.
versus finite systems. Like I was
Right.
talking about
So
that.
you were
That's
talking
what
about, I
started.
think you were talking about Infinity at first, and then maybe you were going
Yeah.
to talk about something else. Let me see if I can pull back what they were saying about Infinity. They're really harping on the what we were talking about. Um, I hope it comes up again because it was really. I was like, that's great. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on. We'll move on. So you
Yeah,
were
I'm
talking
trying.
about the infinity and finite.
Yeah, I mean it was about like, I think what I was getting at was like, what's the like what's the not like what's the point? It's kind of like what's the
Yeah.
point of this? Because okay, this goes
Oh,
back to my
oh,
purpose. Yeah, go
got
ahead.
it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's basically you were saying it keeps going on and on and on,
Yes. Yes.
and they're saying that that's kind of the point, and everything is kind of um, like that paradox again, where you're here, but you're also not here. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens is obviously that thing we just talked about with paradox is to deal with fear and like being worried or feeling weird about something,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're going to explore infinity, then you realize that you are both exploring infinity, but you're also corralling infinity to bring it to the um, uh, matrix or whatever you want to call it. Right now they're calling it matrix.
Yeah.
So you are bringing infinity to something that's not. So once you reach that, you have the choice to do those two things to make yourself feel cool or integrated or whatever. But then when you want to express yourself or you want to explore more, the
Mm-hmm.
next stage is to think, okay, I'm temporarily like paying attention to this, like
Mm-hmm.
waking up here and I wake up in the morning and I'm paying attention to finite stuff. How can I bring the infinite, my personal infinite, and the collective infinite into this earth?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
also they also brought up this is the big thing that they said. So I talked about this in my recent video and it's been popping up all over the place where people are saying it on accident and that means it's a big thing that I'm gonna have to it's gonna get bigger. But right now it's small, but it's still big.
Yeah.
And it's about your truth. So when about truth in general. So truth comes from your bigger energy, like your
Mm-hmm.
connection to your bigger energy. So the ball of energy around you because you're there and you're also here
Mm-hmm.
and source. And the closer you get to source, which is everything,
Yeah.
the more truth it is, not because and pure, not because it's better and cool and high and whatever, but because that is everything.
Yeah.
So the POV, the bigger picture. So a human has one POV, and then you have all these POVs. And I think that when I do this, this is what I'm going to talk about before I do the meditation videos. I mean, like little thingies, so that people can try out or thought experiments. I'm probably going to call them thought experiments because I don't. All the people I come across, um, they get scared about meditation, even though they do meditation. They like feel like, oh, I'm not doing. No, I'm gonna start that way. I'm gonna
Yeah.
call it thought experiments, kind of, because I think reframing it is going to help. Because I don't think it's like a meditation. I'm not telling you to go somewhere do. It's. I don't want people to feel that. I want people to know that they're here and they can do it even like with their eyes open.
Yeah.
Like I'm an advocate for eye open meditations. But anyway, so especially since you want to get stuff done. You don't want to feel like, oh, I have to go on these hurdles just to get this stuff done. But anyway, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just realized why they're doing this because I still haven't done the thought forms yet because I think it's like going to be very big. And I think it's like a whole thing that has to do with this. But anyway, so when you remember when I talked about on the live when you swim inside and you keep
Yeah.
going in and in and in
Yeah.
and shallow, when people say shallow, it's because it's shallow waters and you haven't explored to your sea, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because you have to hold your breath to go into the center and then you go out and then you keep going in and out, in and out, in and out, and you're growing this tree, right? Or
Yeah.
whatever you have. Maybe you don't have a tree, maybe you have a strawberry bush or something.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
you're like growing those and it's like your little garden. And so when you are speaking your truth, knowing your truth, all that stuff, that is you going to all those layers of your bigger energy. And because I said in this matrix or whatever, it's the opposite because of the way our bodies are set up for our brains, for us to understand. We say
Mm-hmm.
going in, but
Right.
actually, in a way, it's expansion, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can say both, and it's again the paradox. So here, it's
Mm-hmm.
within, but when you're expanding, it's just expansion. It's not going outside. It's just you're getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense? And so people get confused with that try to say higher and lower, and they still say, yeah, expansion, because they're thinking you're like expanding out there, but it's still not right. You're getting bigger.
Yeah.
You're adding to it. You're getting so big, so big. So when a lot of people come to me about job things, for example,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I tell them. I'm like, put things in that job that you love so much that it gets so big that you outgrow the job. Not, you don't leave the job, you outgrow the job, and it will
Mm.
happen effortlessly, and you won't torture yourself, and you're just making yourself feel magical and taking care of yourself. So, and I tell them like what their energies say to suggest and stuff, but I don't just say do that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of one of the ideas. It's the kind of the most efficient energy work that is on offer, is that basically that's the best thing someone can do for themselves, because people say, oh, you have to stop this or you have to do this, but instead you could be growing inside, like putting so much in you and nourishing yourself so much that you expand as a
Mm.
human. But anyway, so back to the thing. So your truth. So you can both expand to your truth by
Mm-hmm.
adding and doing all this stuff, but you can also swim to your truth, which is swimming all the way so deep that it ends up being not just, you like as a human, you like become like, the closest to the source and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that is what it is. So that's why people say the word pure, or they say things like that, because if you think about it, it's pure because you're looking at everything, all of the POVs, not just one human POV, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's
So
what
I
infinity
guess
is. You're exploring how big you want to get and how much you want to bring here if you want to bring cool stuff. That's what infinity is.
so. Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that seem a less scary?
Yes, kind of. Because the thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around, right? Like you were talking about, like the example of the job thing, right? Of like bringing more in,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to like, not to be finite, but I'm like trying to like think of like, okay, what would that look like? Like, what is
Well, I
that?
can give an example of one client. I asked them a lot. It was a long time ago. I think it was like 3 years ago. I asked them if I could share it, like when it comes up.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they basically said the thing that was bothering them the most in the job, like obviously there was a lot going on, but the thing that was bothering them the most, that was taking away their sovereignty, was having time for themselves to like just even think for themselves.
Mm,
It was just
okay.
so demanding. And so I told them that their energies were suggesting to go to the bathroom, and just for like maybe 3 minutes to 5 minutes, have your time to do anything, like just to like look at your phone or close your eyes or think about like anything they want to, even if it's something like that they're going to do when they get home, like make dinner or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
And give and show yourself that you're setting that time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you do this, the more you're going to be like, okay, well, this is stupid. I don't know what I'm going to think about. Then you're going to start to think about what you're going to do when you get in the bathroom. And so you just keep growing that. And so so that's what started for her, is taking back that. So yes, like she was going there, but her work like got more efficient.
Yeah.
I'm late and I'm 100% lost and I'm 100% before. Oh, Trent. I'm gonna go soon too, so we're gonna. I think it's gonna be just Camille and I today, for now. But I was gonna I'd stay only for 20 minutes anyway. Okay, but anyway, back to it. So yeah,
Okay.
so that's how it started, and we think, oh, like okay, let me do this, let me do that. Like that's all it took for her, and because she was thinking of herself and she thought of more things, like she used her thought forms and thoughts for other things. She was right. She was like, it's weird because we know what is, like we're like, oh, we hate this job, but like we know what it is about the job, but we are bombarded by the job so much, but that we don't know what's keeping us there. And
Okay.
so that's kind of the thought, is you start to realize that, and then when you start changing your mind, you're like, okay, well, now I actually don't I don't mind this job because now I actually, the thing that was taking my sovereignty away, it's like I've taken care of that. And
Right.
then she started going, I'm gonna bring like there was like she had a dream like of basically she wanted to make like a bakery, like that was her dream. And she was working in an office. And so she started making like baking things. Like she
Yeah.
started baking little stuff for herself. Like she'd make special bread and then go to the um, you know, go to the office and people would see it and they're like, oh, I'm having like this wedding and like do you want to do like this is so good, like do you want to like make it for me or whatever. And then
Right.
there was like, someone's birthday party, and so she's still enjoying the job now because she has that time, but she's also bringing her thing to to the job. So you know how people dress to impress, she was
Yeah.
literally bringing that to the job. And then all of a sudden, she just feels like, well, I kind of can do both for a while. And then she tests the waters for that. So she starts doing those things. And then eventually, like, she was so busy that she didn't want to go to work anymore.
Mm. So it's almost feels like the friction is like a sign or like an indicator of a place to bring in infinity, kind of. Like like that's almost what it feels like to me. I don't know.
And that's what she was doing. She was bringing in her authenticity, her truth, and injecting it into a dead space, a space that she didn't feel she fit. And
Hmm. Hmm.
she did that with finding out what was making her feel that way initially, and then it's almost like a takeover.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so she like
Hmm.
expanded into it. And the
Yeah.
funny part is, you know, it's going well when you actually enjoy being there because you're like taken over.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. 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 Oh my gosh.
So that's what it is. So another example I have, and this is like someone who was on the live all the time. She was constantly obsessed with, a lot of people are obsessed with going to different planets. And when we got to the conversation of planets later, it all clicked for her. But in the beginning, when she kept saying, I want to leave, I want to leave, I don't want to be here, I don't want to leave, I want to leave. Or when
Right.
people see alien videos, they're like, take me, take me. And they don't realize, they think they're joking, but that feeling of not of wanting to go to another planet and not be here is actually misunderstood. It
Yeah.
means that you have such strong ties and connections that it's going to be amazing what you can bring here. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be amazing. Like that's so strong that you want to go, that you can you imagine how strong those ties are.
Right.
And when you start looking into those and taking it seriously instead of letting people shame you or shame yourself or whatever, can you imagine the cool stuff that they could bring? Can
Oh.
you imagine their thought processes and beautiful creations they can bring for all of us
Hmm.
and for themselves? Like, can you imagine how cool their house would look?
Yeah.
Like, they would be able, you know, like you would be able to
Yeah.
deck it out in like really cool ways. That's one
Yeah.
thing that I've been doing since I was a kid. Is people are always like, I remember people would tell me, because I've been doing that because I've always been like this. So I've
Yeah.
been like, because their strong thing of wanting to go to a different planet, mine was just like, my strong thing is expressing it. Like that's
Hmm.
what mine was. Like, so I got lucky kind of, but I also didn't because then I had tons of clothes and all these problems with like tons of stuff. But
Hmm. Yeah.
but when I was doing it, people were so confused. They never could put me in a category. They're like, I guess you're vintage, but maybe you're not, because I
Yeah.
have no idea what this is. I've never seen, like, these people are really good at like, you know, time periods, and so was I.
Yeah.
I was like, we're both doing that, and they're like, but you agree, like you're not that time period, and I'm like, well, yeah. And so it's just so funny because I was literally, it didn't, like, obviously those vintage things, I was connecting with those versions of me in those time periods, but I was also connecting to the other stuff. Like, I was just connecting to the colors and the way it is. And it was me. I was like, I need to express this. I need to wear it. I need to put it in different ways and stuff like that. And so that's kind of that what I was doing, and also my shifts of when I was like integrating different versions of myself. Like, it's everyone has this, but mine is like a intense one, and so he is behind you. He is like, let's eat. Basically, yeah, so like the shifts of the energy constantly going like this and like changing, that's how I was handling it. I'm like, oh my god, I changed it again. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
Right,
god.
right, right,
And
right.
once I realized what was going on there, I've worked with it with art instead of doing fashion because it was so out of hand. But now
Right.
these people, like I said, that talk about this, I'm like, that's the same thing. It's the
Mm.
same thing.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. This is like connecting so many dots for me. Oh my god. Wow. Wow.
Finally, a face to go with the hands. Oh, you guys saw his face.
He like peeked through the green screen a little bit. Yeah.
Well, we are meant to be having a lovely chat. Yeah,
Oh,
I think. Yeah, I think our. It's been amazing 20 minutes. Oh, I can't even tell what time. Yeah, we've
no,
gone
it's
over.
later. It's late for you because
Yeah,
you're
it's
like,
1:30.
oh my god, and you have to still eat. Oh my gosh.
Well, I get like I have a thing where we were talking about this today. Um, there's an article written about sleeping late and how it's bad. It makes your life expectancy lower. And for me, I don't. From what the energies have told me, you have like an exit and you like
Yes. Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything. But what's important to
Yeah.
me is my quality of life. So I will be healthy for my quality of life, not how long I'm going to live, because I'm going to live how long I am going to live, and it
Right.
doesn't mean that that's it. I'm going to go somewhere else anyway. So like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's lots of options, and it might not be exactly like this, and it won't be with like the same people. It'll be a little bit different or whatever, but it's going to be pretty close, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but anyway, that's for me. I'm like, that's so that didn't mean anything to me. But like for him, he was like, okay, well, I'm feeling groggy because like go to sleep very late,
Yeah.
and I wake up kind of late as well. But I've set my life up so that I've devoted my life to you guys and stuff like that, and myself, and like learning my story and all these things. So I'm like, it's just that's how it is, like
Yeah.
so yeah, no, I don't take naps. It's I sometimes I pass out because of weird like energy things,
Oh, wow.
because
Jeez.
weird, but not pass out like I'm just like passing out, but like I go to
Oh.
like it's just like I feel very drowsy and I'm like, okay, all right,
Good. Good.
it's like a forced meditation kind of thing where the pass out meditations, it's like that, and
Hmm.
I'm like, okay. And sometimes I'm like somewhere else, and sometimes I have no idea what happened.
Oh my god.
But yeah, there's wild things happening all the time. So that's why, yeah. So, but yeah, and it's rare. It's like it happens when energies get really intense for the pulling it in and stuff. So I'm like, it's
Hmm.
wild. But yeah, um, yeah,
Stop
but
it.
and it's wild because, like I said, the energies are always hounding as well. So, luckily, the only thing is when I'm in that mode, when it gets really intense and I'm pulling in energy for everyone, which I like I said, I'm not the only one. A lot of people are doing this, and some people don't even know it's happening. But I'm like pulling that in. That's the time when the energies can't come and like hang out. Really, like they're not gonna come and talk to me because they can't. Like it's like all this stuff is happening, so they can't even get through, even if they wanted to. So it's like my break, kind of.
Right. Right.
So it's okay.
My goodness.
Like yesterday, Pan was coming, and I'm like, I can't Pan today, not today. Not today.
Not today, Pan. Not today.
But I promised him I would talk to him soon, so it's okay. But
Love it.
he did come in my dream actually. No, he came in my dream, so
Like we're gonna talk.
yeah,
Listen.
he has like like there's a guy that I met and he is like the human version of him or whatever, and he uses that guy not uses, but like he shows up as that guy in my dreams
Hmm.
because a while back he used to come as this weird thing, and I was like, oh my god, please no. And I told him like, you need to change, please.
Oh my gosh.
Robin says, "You know that in ages past, having a nap is a sign that the gods are talking to you." Well, the gods are talking to me like 24/7, so I don't even need to.
Oh my god.
Like right now, there's like five gods right now talking to me.
Right?
I'm like, stand in the line.
Yeah, get in the
All right.
waiting room.
It's been great. I'm gonna try to come on tomorrow. He is behind me with pizza. Oh, you're hilarious. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and come on tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys are available. But I don't know if I'll see what happens if I have a session or something. And I am gonna go on a trip soon. So, but I will change my
Ooh,
schedule for that.
nice.
But yeah, it's a
Awesome.
party line. Everyone is on the phone. Yeah, there's always a line. Like sometimes it's so intense that I'm like, okay, I'll just talk to someone. But it's not just gods; it's also little nature beings as well.
Oh, yeah, I've been trying to connect with the Fae. Sorry, yeah, I
Oh
get
my god,
that.
we could do this. My specialty.
Yeah, oh, they've been, oh, you know what? We'll have to talk about it in the session. I have some
Yeah,
stories. Wait, I have some stories, definitely.
yeah, they're
So,
like it's my original energy and my original energy's mom, but it's not really their mom. It's complicated, and we'll talk about it.
uh,
Together, they created the Fae. So
oh, oh, we'll have to discuss. I love the Fae.
they're my babies.
Oh, they're so cute. I love them.
All right. So yeah, I'm excited for our session, and also maybe we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
You guys have been great in the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Welcome to England, home of the fairy lights.
Yeah. Lots of
Bye.
elementals. All right,
And nice to
bye.
meet you, Robin. Bye.
Bye.